Hi guys, it's Meridy here with Not Just for Boys Kit Club for our June 2021 page kit, and I'm going to give you the instructions on how to put this page kit together. The supplies that you're going to have is one piece of this old school Heidi Swapp paper, one piece of this pink paisley wood grain paper, two pieces of the Heidi Swapp Magnolia Jane paper, one sheet of white cardstock, some twine. This isn't really twine, this is just what I'm using for the video, but in your kit you're gonna have actual twine. This is just some DMC embroidery floss because I don't have the twine here with me. And then one package of the Heidi Swapp ephemera and one charm that says, "And so the adventure begins." And the first thing that you're going to want to do is cut all your papers to the sizes outlined in your instructions. You're going to have a full color instruction sheet that came with your kit, and you're going to cut your papers down to those sizes. So I'm going to start out doing that, and I will be right back. Okay ladies, I cut all of my pieces, and one thing that I wanted to say is we used two cut aparts from this paper. They're located right here on the paper. Let me move this. They're located right there in the paper. We use these two, and then you're gonna need to cut some 2" by 2" squares out of the rest of the paper. So I cut all of mine out of the little cut aparts that used to be right there. Okay, but if you really liked what these said, cut them out of somewhere else. But I just cut them out of the section that I took away from there. You're gonna use the back side. So I just wanted to say that before I started moving on too fast. Let me get this all out of the way. We are going to work first on the left-hand side of this layout, which is this side right here. And the first thing that I wanted to tell you is my pictures for my video are going to be these white pieces of paper. So I used one photo that was 2 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch, one photo that was cropped down to 4 by 4, and one photo that was cropped down to 4 by 5. So those are gonna be the photos in the layout that I'm gonna make in this video, and I'm gonna move this off to the side. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is mat all your photos on the white cardstock that's included in your kit. So I'll do that right now. Okay ladies, the only photo that you don't need to mat is this small one that's 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches because it's gonna have a Polaroid frame around it on the layout. So you do not need to mat that one. Okay, then let's pull our pieces that we need for the left side of the layout. The first thing that you're going to want to do is tear this paper just closely along the top. If you like the torn look, tear up towards you in little short motions so you have a lot more control that way, and it will show the white core of the paper, and it will really pop off the background paper. Which is going to go just like this. And then you can adhere that piece down. The rest of the layout I like to get adhered or laid out where everything's going to be kind of before I adhere any more down. So let's get the rest of this just kind of laid into place. So the 4 by 5 photo is gonna go right there. This little guy's gonna go right here. That guy's gonna go right there. And we can probably open up the ephemera pack so we can grab the frame that goes around this. And it's gonna be a lot easier to work on these layouts if I just leave the ephemera all over here, because there are so many pieces and so many pieces that we use on the layouts. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it there off to the side. And then you can adhere this photo into the frame, and we can go ahead and adhere that. I'm just gonna tack it into place. And when I adhere everything down, I'll put a little more adhesive on the back. the next piece that you're going to need for this layout are both of these cut aparts from the paper. The New Adventures, the weight, I kind of cut the top to be really close to the word new. I'll show you what I mean. Just sliced a little off the top. And this frame, I took it and I cut it diagonally from this top corner to this bottom corner, just right across the trimmer, like that. Because I wanted to use part of it on this side of the layout and part of it on the other. So we're gonna use this half over here and the other half I'm gonna put off to the side to use on the other layout. Okay. And I just tucked it all the way under the photo. And depending on what is in your photographs, you might not want to cover up as much of the picture, or you might want to keep this a 4x6 picture, so just scooch these things over. But in my photos that I used on the original layout for this, it was fine to cover up a little of the photo. So let's just get this laid out, whoops, correctly here. Okay, and then I'm going to insert these offset right in the middle of a few random diamond shapes on the page. So I did those 3. I'm not adhering this down yet, so it's kind of not perfectly straight yet. Those 2. And then I'm gonna start digging in here for ephemera. I used a little palm frond there. I used the words, let's see, I used some photo corners, I know that. When I get them all out here. I used Dreamy and Wander Far and Wide. And I know I used some hearts. Some of this stuff I know I did not use, so I'm going to move it off to the side. I'll use that. I know I used some of these on the other page. I used document. This little heart. Happiness. Okay, I think that's all that I used. Ooh, another little photo corner. Another little heart. Okay, and be present. Okay. So now that we've got all those out, and then we're going to use this little charm as well as the packaging for it. So don't throw this packaging away. We're just going to use the charm. I'm going to take off the little sticky, and we're going to use the back of this. Okay, so to get ready to use the back of this, you're going to want to trim the sides. And then if you have a paper reinforcer, you can put that on it. I happen to have a paper reinforcer punch. So I'm going to make a little punched paper reinforcer. And I'm making it out of the scrap of this blue wood grain paper. It's the branding strip. and this is what it looks like. And then I will just glue it right there. You can use a real paper reinforcer and color it with the marker if you have a white one, or you could use a scrap of paper, or you could use nothing at all. There's already a dark wood grain paper reinforcer like showing on the label or on the tag, so you could just leave it as it is. Okay, so that's on there. And then I just take a regular hole punch and cut out the hole. And then we're actually going to cut this tag in half. So just go ahead and cut it in half. We're going to use the top half on one side of the layout and the bottom half on the other side of the layout. Oops. Okay. Now I think everything's pretty much in place. Ooh, I used a little ticket that I forgot, a little ticket. I think everything's pretty much in place, so I'm gonna start adhering things down from the back up to the top. And let's see. I work my way from the back to the top, so hopefully I don't have to lift anything else up and tape underneath it. Now I do want to adhere this there, just so it's already in the right place. So I will just do that first. And then adhere the whole thing down as one piece. Okay, I'm not going to put adhesive right this tall up because I want to be able to tuck those embellishments under. So I'm just putting adhesive on the bottom of that one. Okay, and then we can start tucking things in and adhere those. And like I said, you'll want to place these depending on what you've got in your photographs. You might need to scoot them over a little. Little happiness tag. And on this vellum piece, I want to put the adhesive way down at the bottom so you won't be able to see it because it's going to tuck under. Because the vellum is see-through, so I don't want my adhesive to show through. So now we're to the part of putting the twine that you have, which I'm not using twine. I have to use this. What I think that you should do is cut your twine for the bottoms of the pages first, so you see what you have left to work with. So cut one piece of twine just longer than the page and another piece of twine for the other side, because the other side of the layout is going to have one just longer than the page. And then you've got this much left to work with. I put a little piece of twine through this charm, so maybe like 3 inches or so. And the way I did that, I just folded it in half and looped it through. And feed the bottom back through. So it pulls like that. And then you can trim it. Okay, so that's gonna go down there. And then this last piece of twine that you have left, cut about another 3 inches off and keep it for your other side of your layout. You're gonna need that. And so then you've got a piece probably around 12 inches long. And what I did is I folded it in half and then in half again. And I fed it through there just like that. And I just tied it like the beginning of tying your shoe. This is a lot easier to do with the twine because it's a little bit thinner than this stuff that I'm using. But I just did it like that. You can cut off an end if it's flying out, but that's all I did for that. So I doubled it and then doubled it again and then fed it through and just tied it. And I am going to put a drop of glue on there because I don't want it to unravel. I'm using Eileen's tacky glue to put it on there just so it doesn't unravel. So I'm gonna kind of stick it underneath both sides. It will dry clear and it will be okay. Okay. Then we can adhere this down, this tag. And I just slide it right back in here. Move that a little. Okay. Then we come down to this little little cluster and adhere it. I'm going to pop the word document up on adhesive that is dimensional, like pop dots or something like that. This is just foam tape. So I'm going to place that right down here. And then this little heart, I'm just gonna put a drop of glue because, of course, in the middle of making my video, my ATG just ran out of adhesive. So I'm just gonna use glue on this little heart. On this "And So the Adventure Begins" charm, I'm going to use an adhesive dot or a couple little tiny adhesive dots because that seems to hold it better for me than using glue. These are just teeny tiny mini ones. I should have grabbed bigger ones for this video, but that's okay. So I just put a couple little tiny mini ones on there. The like glue dots. Okay. The next thing is 2 photo corners. I put one up here and one down here. And you can use them that color that they exist, or if you want them a different color, flip them over and add ink to them. You'll see on my original layout with my pictures, the color in the pictures was so close to this color that you couldn't even see these. So I flipped them over and I inked them to be like this teal blue color. So that's always an option if they're blending into your pictures. But for right now, I'm going to leave them on this side. And you just stick those down. And the final step on this half of the layout, well, there's a couple final steps. One thing is adhering your twine across the bottom. And to do that, I use tacky glue. And I just put a couple little teeny things of tacky glue all across the bottom because it dries clear. And I laid my twine on it. And then I flipped the layout over and put some on the back. To hold the edges down. Oh yes, I have glue all over my fingers. And then the final thing that you're going to want to do is trim off these little diamond corners. And I am just going to use my scissors to trim them off. You're going to use this one, this bigger one that I'm cutting right now. You're going to use it on the other side of the layout. So save this piece. But these little tiny ones, you're not going to use. You can just get rid of those. Okay, so this is the left-hand side of the layout, and now we're going to work on the right-hand side of the layout. Okay, ladies, I got everything cleared off from the first half of the layout, and now it's time to work on the second half of the layout. And you're going to start the exact same way we started with the first half of the layout by tearing just the top edge off of this wood grain paper. I swear this wood grain paper is like one of my favorite papers ever. I love all the colors on it. I love wood grain. It can work for anything. I should have bought myself extra pieces of it after this layout. There is a little left over from this layout. I'm going to make another layout with my scraps, I think. If I do that, I'll share it on our Facebook group so you can see what I do, because there's a lot of scraps left from this one. Okay, anyway, so just tear that so that the white middle shows, and then you can go ahead and adhere that down. It has to go at the bottom. It's not moving anywhere depending on any pictures. So it's pretty safe to adhere that one down. And next, you're going to take your 4x6 picture and the other half of this frame, and I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere it together right now so that it's just one piece when I'm trying to pick it up and move things and adhere stuff under it. It's just so much easier to just move it, whoops, like one piece. If I could get it on straight, let's try this again. There we go. So that's gonna be there. And then again, we've got all of these little pieces. This is the half that was left over from the last page. It's going to go in here. And we're just going to set these in random places on your layout. You can do it exactly like I'm doing it. You can change it to different areas if you have more pictures and different areas seem like they need it. Okay, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we can also adhere these down because they have to go in the little spaces that they're in. And then we'll just have less things that we're trying to move around on here to adhere once we get everything laid out. Yeah, this background gray paper made this really easy to place these diamonds straight and even because it already had an outline for them. So that was nice. And I know this is hanging over the edge a bit, but again, at the very end, we'll go trim off all these edge things that are hanging over. Okay. The next step is going to take all of these little ephemera pieces that we pulled out of the ephemera pack with the last layout and start placing them down. I tucked a few things under and whoops, and layered a few things on top. And you can refer back to the photos that you have in your instructions and kind of see where things go and how I did this. But I'm just quickly kind of placing them close to the right spot right now before I adhere anything down, just to make sure that it looks like I've got all my pieces, which it does look like I have all of my pieces here. And then I would start adhering things from the back to the front. So I start at what's layered under the back. And work my way up towards the top layer. And again, with these photo corners, there's 2 photo corners on this page. And you can leave them to be the color that they are, or you can ink them to be another color to pop out a little. I'm going to leave them the color that they are for this video, but on my layout, that's my example layout, I inked them this teal blue again, or this teal blue color, because that's what my pictures needed a little. My pictures were mostly sand color, so they blended in with these photo corners a lot. And I just wanted to add a little more color. Okay. And then we've got this guy under here. Oh, all my stuff is shifting. Oh my goodness. That go under there. This vellum palm frond. Slide in here. And the green one. Just kind of wedge in there. And then I decided that I wanted to pop the word breathe up on dimensional adhesive. So I just put a little bit on the back. Just need the thinnest piece for this to be there. So he's gonna pop up there. And then, did I adhere that? Oh my, I didn't adhere my picture yet. Okay, we're gonna try to tear this off. I thought I had my picture down, but I did not. That would not have been good. Let's try to get this back in the right place. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then I also put this little calendar little ephemera. I popped him up too on dimensional adhesive. So he's a little bit taller like that. And then these 2 little hearts, I'm gonna use glue because it's so hard for me to get ATG tape on these tiny little embellishments. So just a dot of glue works sometimes for me. This is Glossy Accents, but there's all kinds of glue. There's Nuvo glues and tacky glues. Anything would really work. And you just need a little bit. Okay, next I would add the date, and I used a date stamp on mine and the journaling right here. And let's trim off these corners that are sticking out. It's easier to flip the paper upside down so you can see exactly what you're cutting. That made it really simple. Okay, and the last part of this side that we're gonna do is the twine across the bottom. Again, I don't have the real twine. I have fake stuff, but you will have the real twine. And I just put a little tacky glue periodically across the bottom. Got my fingers really messy. And then flip it upside down just to pull the little bit around the back so it holds into place. And then with this last, with this last little tiny piece that I told you to save about 3 inches, I'm just gonna tie it in a knot So it looks kind of like this is really tied around this page. And that's like the knot that it's, you know, it looks like it's wrapped around and tied. But that is the end of the left side of the layout. I mean, the right side of the layout. And then this is what you, oops, wrong one. Let's get the one without pictures. And this is how your completed page will look. If you have any questions, you can comment below the video or leave them in a message for me on our Facebook page or email. But commenting below the video is probably a good way because other people might have the same questions. Let's see. We are trying to get to a point where we can do live videos on YouTube in the future for our regular kits. So if the only way that we can do that is to have a certain number of followers. I believe it's 1,000 followers on YouTube, which we do not have right now. So if you want to follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube, that would be awesome because when we finally hit 1,000 subscribers, we can start doing live videos on YouTube and you can comment and interact in real time. Not necessarily for these layouts, but it will be other fun things. I don't know, demonstrations and things like that and layouts with some of our other kits. So subscribe to us, and I'll put still pictures at the end of this video right now so you can see them, close-ups and still pictures. Okay, have a good day, guys. Bye. Thank you.